In this episode, we share Booth 42 with Termin Feckin of the planet Circular, with a silent T.
It's the only planet on wheels in the universe, and an exporter of procreation.
So roll up your towel into a pillow, lean back, and
Prepare to hear about how machines are threatening the old-fashioned procreation industry.
Shut up and sit down.
And welcome back to Booth 42 for the Hitchhikers and Appetizers podcast. I am, of course... yes, I am. I am Horatio Zinn. I forgot for a second who I was, but I'm back. And reminding me of who I am, because he is the better reflection of all that I could possibly be.
Trellis Gardeen is here as well. I like that I'm the better reflection of you, Horatio.
Yes.
Unlike maybe a poorly crafted mirror, warping me around into some sort of contortion that I do not like.
The mirror is the funhouse mirror, and so it contorts me around into... There is a contortion, but it makes you look better and not worse.
And at least and you don't have to contort yourself because we're well aware of your lack of flexibility.
Yes.
And just overall movement in general.
Stationary is the way.
But you know who's not contorting? Our guest.
Oh my! Our guest is being very polite.
Our guest did not have to contort themselves to get into the booth at all.
Oh yes.
And why don't you introduce yourself? Let the universe know who you are.
The bacon here is so good. Have you guys had the bacon?
I love the bacon.
I've requested that they sprinkle it on everything I eat because it does add that little that extra pow.
It's like a crispiness.
And there's so many types of bacon. You can make bacon from anything, apparently.
I didn't. I'm Termin Feckin.
Termin Feckin.
And it's great to see you both again.
Again? Have we met before?
Are we forgetting when we met?
Well, I would have thought it was important that if we'd met before that you'd remember.
First of all, I have an excuse. I have a terrible, terrible memory.
I don't have an excuse. I'm just usually very lazy and don't pay attention.
Yes.
Termin, refresh my memory.
Yes, please. This is exciting.
We were at that swimming competition in Tululu.
You had the full body suit.
I had the most full body suit of anyone that was there.
It's like you were dipped in swimsuit.
It covered your entire body and your head. Is that the one?
Head to toe. You couldn't tell which end was the top end. Horatio, my brain is a little foggy, but from memory you said to me that it was the 4,183rd time that you had thought about wearing one of them, and yet the first time you had seen somebody wear one.
Now I am starting to remember now. Oh, just a second. Let me look through my duffel bag I have many napkins that I've written notes on over the years. The filing system's terrible. But
I just remember you streamlining through the water at an unbelievable rate.
Yes.
Was it you or was it the suit? What let you swim at such incredible speeds?
Yes.
I still don't really know how much of it was me and how much of it was the suit, but I do know one thing. The cocktails they had at the party afterwards were some of the most exquisite cocktails I've ever had.
I remember tasting the first couple, and then after that, the alcohol took effect, and the deliciousness was lost on me, but the alcohol effect just grew.
And honestly, I think that's probably the most popular swimming event in the universe due to the fact that the competition pool also has a swim-up bar built into it. So the competitors, right after they're done, and so I think sometimes even while they were still racing, took a quick break to grab a drink in the middle of their events.
I think the word is sublime.
Yes. It means different things. Sometimes it just means it's a lower level of tart.
Yes.
Sublime, but otherwise, yes. I think the other meaning is there as well.
It's such a shame that they destroyed that plant. I mean, I thought that really was going to be the making of something wonderful. I felt you plural.
That sounds right.
If
Yes.
you're meaning more than one, then yes.
Yes, you as in both of you, plural. We really bonded. I felt that I bonded with nearly everybody there. Approximately 89.4% of people there I bonded with. And I really felt like it was the making of a summer camp.
Oh, a summer camp. A summer camp. If it's like the summer camps that I attended, I have lots of ribbons for just showing up.
Aren't they the best ribbons, Horatio?
They really are.
But really that marked the occasion when my life started to go downhill rapidly.
Oh no! Just because of the fact that they closed it down?
I'd finally come out of my shell.
Yes.
It's a large shell occupied by a number of different families, and I finally came out. I felt like my social skills were advancing.
Yes.
But anyway, I found I was making friends and going places. My job applications were found out, and the destruction of the planet, it had me go into this regressive phase where I felt that carrying the weight of the universe on my shoulders. I mean, I'm sure you've been there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow, yeah, very, very. My shoulders are very narrow and weak, so there's not a lot that they can carry. And yes, it was tragic that the planet was destroyed, as often happens to make way for things. Like in this case, it was a giant galactic parking lot and way station for interplanetary shipping. So sometimes people just decide to do these things, and you can't stop it. Unfortunately, that the pool is, in my estimation, was the finest competition swim pool and swim up bar that I've ever had a chance to be around.
And you've been around quite a few.
Yes.
It was a bit of an obsession of his in his youth.
But this is it. It's gone. Just like that, I felt obliged to go back into my shell because I questioned how many other planets will be destroyed if I go and enjoy myself there and make friends.
Yes.
It's the risk. It's the risk you have to take. Should we worry the fact that you're here? Is Millyways on some list of...
Technically, arguably, Millyways doesn't meet the criteria that would find itself, at the need of intergalactic destruction.
One would hope not. But I'm trying to feel the situation out here. If there's been a long line of planets that have been destroyed after you visit them, I'm just making sure.
Yes, because that would be concerning.
Am I making you nervous?
I am not the most comfortable I've ever been.
Well, if you noticed, my hands are a little shaking and all of the bacon is coming off of my fries.
Oh no, that's a bad sign.
So in a sense, you've destroyed my fries because the bacon is no longer on them.
That's quite an analogy to use. It's almost making me feel uncomfortably unwelcome.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
We're
still
of course, you're
completely
very welcome. Even if you're boding destruction, you're still welcome here at our booth.
Oh, yes.
Should something happen to you before or after, before, I suppose it wouldn't happen before, but after, what'll I tell people? Will I tell them it was the bacon fries, or will I tell them it was just me? Don't you see I've never been in love?
Oh, I knew you were coming to something.
Have you been unable to find love on your home planet? Where is your home planet?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I neglected you on that.
And my home planet is so far away from everything. It's beyond the boundary of known space.
Oh.
Which is a precautionary measure in case an intergalactic issue shall arise. My planet, as you know, is the only planet on wheels in space. It's
Easily moved.
very easily moved.
Well, yes.
So would that be
Sorry, you notice I'm having to write this down on my napkin to make sure that I remember.
It's the mobile home of planets, is what you're telling me.
Yes, the T is silent. Make sure you put in the T, but don't leave it out because we get confused often with that other planet that's in the social quadrant.
How do you spell it again?
It's circular. It spells itself.
Very good. Circular. Yes, very good.
Circular.
The T is silent. Very
Oh, of
important.
course it is. That would be insane to see a T in there. That would cause all kinds of problems, perhaps accidents.
Do you know how many people's letters I get that aren't for me? It turns out there's a Termin Feckin on the other circular planet where the T isn't silent. It's so confusing.
That's strange. That must be confusing.
Very.
Have you ever accidentally received a a takeout or delivery order for the other one?
I one time had a delivery of a whole cow,
Oh, yes. Cow.
but a whole cow had turned up, and what's more, it brought books with it and read before I ate it.
Oh.
The cow read books before you ate.
Did it read them to you, or was it reading it for its own enjoyment?
Oh, yes. Good clarifier.
I think it wanted to read for me, but I was so confused at why anyone would bring books of that nature before it was like it was self-sacrificing itself for the greater good of my hunger pangs, which was quite endearing. But I also felt bad that perhaps the person it was intended for, Termin Feckin, we'll call him Termin Feckin B.
Smart beef does tend to taste and cook better.
Yes, because it knows when it's done.
Yes, exactly.
But yes, rather embarrassing, but tasty nonetheless.
If your planet is out on the edge of things, do you have a lot of hitchhikers coming around, visitors to the planet?
We don't even visit each other on my planet. Don't know. You don't know your neighbors, and they don't know you, because we just don't want to pass around the burden of accidental mishaps. And the further we stay away from everyone, the better. But this leads into the dilemma of the lack of love. My people are risking, extinction, self-extinction, not from the avoidance of terror in space, but from the avoidance of procreation through love. Procreation has been very much a mechanical effort by my people, but just it's an industry that is being automated. People are losing their livelihoods, and I just don't want myself to go the same way that my parents went.
So procreation's a livelihood on your planet?
Yes, it's a livelihood, and my father was replaced by a machine.
Oh.
Maybe he was just bad at it, and they thought the machine could do it better.
Oh.
Better, faster, cheaper.
There's parts of the universe where you can get the technology cheaper, and so they don't need to pay labor to procreate when they can just get a machine to procreate on your behalf.
That's terrible. I think that certainly takes away a certain organic element from procreation.
Honestly, I'm not entirely against this, because the whole process to normally get there is fraught with bad dates, bad dinners, clumsy, awkward stumbling around in the dark, and then whether or not you're going to have to call or talk to the person ever again as you sneak out in the morning. This pretty much takes care of all that, and you don't have to worry about it.
And also, the whole process is quite filthy if you do it right.
I would give my head for a bad date.
Oh, a bad date, yes.
That sounds like the grass is always browner. You're looking for that brown, dead grass on the other side, aren't you?
It would have to be somewhere neutral, non-planetary, but I mean, my expectations are low, so...
Good.
That's always a good place to start when dating.
Yes, I find keep them low. You're never disappointed.
Yeah, very low, very low. I mean, tell the person all of the good things about myself. I used to swim.
Now, why would you want to do that? Because, they say, what's the saying?
I have no idea.
If you don't like me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. So why not just start out with your worst?
Yes.
And if they like that and they don't mind that, it's really just everything nowhere to go but up.
Think how pleased they will be over the course of time with you.
If you lead with the good things, you got nothing left but the bad things, and that's I think it's a different way to look at it.
It certainly is. It's a reverse way to look at it.
That is very, very profound. Have you thought, both of you, plural, thought about dating advice as a career option? This is very. Have you anything else? I mean,
I have considered. I actually did write an advice column. Love bides to the lovelorn. You will see that my output, if you ever read it, is the reason why I am not doing it today. Also, there were numerous lawsuits. Various things. It turned out to be terribly unpleasant. I thought the advice I gave was good, but apparently it was destructive.
I dabble in the poetry, as we've often discussed here. And I did release, at one point, a book of love poems, probably the most famous of which was Dating, Let's Get to Mating. That's one.
That book has probably been responsible for more population explosions on more planets.
I get letters all the time saying thank you.
And then others saying, oh my God, look what you've done to me. I was single and loving it until your book of poetry.
And now I'm not. And now it's been ruined.
Yes.
Wow, I should have assumed you were so endowed. I mean, you must have many, many partners all over the universe. What's the word for it?
Popular.
I have run from more partners than I can actually. I lost count.
You lost count.
That's one of the other reasons why I am now here. I pulled myself off the edge like your planet, like circular, and just laying low for a while.
Yes. Laying low here at one of the most populous businesses in the entire universe.
Yes. Until any and all offspring have at least reached the age where they can fend for themselves, and I would no longer be needed anyways.
Yes. I'm trying to imagine you as a father. I don't want to get off on that whole thing of imagining you as a father.
Termin, what do you bring to the table? If you were coming, like you said, what? Give me your 3 worst and 3 best things. If you were pretend I'm your date.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry. You may need a stiff drink for that.
yes.
We'll just role play it out here. If I was your date, throw it out there. Let's get your game. What kind of game were you going to throw out here?
This is like a role play.
It's role play. What you each play a role.
We haven't brought out our love advice in a while.
No.
I'll pretend to be your date, so Horatio is going to be the one on the outside looking in, offering astute analysis.
Oh, I'm advising. I'm not just watching. I'm not just lurking.
Horatio, move around the booth.
All right.
Determine. And you
There we go.
whisper in his ear what he should be, using to woo me. Woo me.
First of all, to clarify, are you Trellis, or are you an attractive being that he might be attracted to?
He'll probably have to concentrate hard. Close your eyes if you need to.
I think if I have to talk about my good side and pretend you're somebody else, that's 2 parts of my brain that will never be in sync. I think you as Trellis is a fine catch. I'm happy to role play dating you, Trellis.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
That's good. That's good. This is a good start.
Let's do this. Yes.
Say the things that you were saying about Trellis in the third person, but say them like you're talking to him.
But again, we're operating from the opposite paradigm now. What's your worst attributes first? And if I can handle those, then everything else is just nowhere to go but up.
Yes.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Trellis.
Good start.
You look rather attractive
Very good.
for your species, and I'm very pleased to be here with you.
That's a good start. Good introduction.
That is really good. I am pleased to be here as well, and thank you for recognizing my devastating good looks. But what about you, Termin? What is it that you can offer a single Trellis out on the prowl?
Well, Trellis, I have only died twice, which means that I have 3 more lives that I can give you.
Oh.
And I am willing to give you all 3 of those lives, should you be happy to take them.
So you're saying if I should get angry and kill you, you still got a couple more lives?
You've got lives left.
I can. I've got some temper tantrums to work with, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Now I know I'm supposed to only be giving advice to Termin here, but Trellis, I would say the what you just admitted is probably not the best thing to admit to on the first date.
I'm working from the opposite paradigm.
That's true.
I am coming out with my worst traits, and if he were to not run away screaming in terror, then I'm going to count Termin as a keeper.
You know you have a fish on the line.
Yes, exactly. That's that tug. I can feel the tug,
Yes.
And I'm just trying to set the hook.
Yes.
Just remember, Trellis, I live in a shell. So traditional methods of extermination don't apply when you live in a shell.
Oh, okay. I am creative. We'll see.
Now, Termin, describe how opulent your shell is to show your wealth to, or if you want to start it from the wrong end, you can tell them just how squalid and terrible it is.
Well, my shell is a 2-tone texture. The three T's, and it is matte on the top, and underneath it is shallow.
Yes.
And the interior is dark. Dark. It's as dark as the holes of a Atreyu.
Oh, the holes of a trail. A trail.
Oh.
A trail. One of the saddest holes.
Very isolated.
Yes.
It's when you're in there, it absorbs your negativity, and which is why I keep fighting the good fight. I know that's rather positive, but within the shell, you are at one with the shell, and negativity is absorbed by the shell. Hence why it's got the matte look on the outside.
Yes.
Horatio sounds like he's getting a little enthralled with this. You're
I
supposed to be
find
playing...
this interesting. I need to bring out my objectivity. I was getting too involved.
Yes, starting to take sides here.
Yes, well, of course I wouldn't take sides against you because I know you so well. Now, was that negative enough? Was that negative enough?
I don't know, but I think this is going well. I think, Termin, you should be bringing out this shell game. I think for all of your dates, ladies like a little bit of a mystery game.
Yes.
I should say, beings like a shell game that you're bringing to the table. I think.
But is the expression of that it's who I am on the inside that counts?
Well, on the inside of the shell.
Yeah, so if I showboat my shell, I might as well have a fancy spacecraft parked outside the restaurant.
Also, whether you have a craft like that or not, it's not a bad idea to say that you do on a first date.
No, I don't.
So what we're doing now, yes, to say I have no fancy means of conveyance.
I have absolutely no fancy means of conveyance because I'm not a procreator like my father before me.
Very good. This is a good way to keep the standards low, expectations low.
Exactly. I'm not expecting there to be a nice way for you to transport me around.
No.
And clearly, if I was not interested in procreating, the fact that you are not a procreator, high on the list.
Yes.
But if I was, and you were talking about the automation earlier, do you have an automated version of yourself to take the place of you that could keep me company should I need it?
You see, this is where it all goes wrong, Charles, because yes, there is an automated version of me. It's just called a box. It's a 4-sided box with all of the peripheral inputs and exports you would expect of a procreation machine, and it runs 24 hours a day and churns them out.
I do not run 24 hours a day.
No. It's more in spurts.
30 or 40 minutes tops. So yeah, I can see how, like you would say, that's hard to compete against. I would imagine on your home planet.
Yes.
Procreates many times a minute, many times a minute.
So then, is there a population issue on your planet? I mean, if this thing's going all the time, spitting out. So, how do you refer to Securians? Is that how you refer to yourselves?
No, we export our procreations, and this is part of the problem we have with facing extinction, is that the revolution that we have from the labor force, and now we are exporting our procreations because the female of our species refuse to participate in such automated activities. Not almost. So we end up exporting most of our procreation to societies that just won't lower ourselves to do the jobs that we do, that we want to do.
I noticed your voice rising a bit.
It's upsetting, Horatio. It's upsetting.
We should get you a drink or something to calm you down. We need to take you down a note.
Take my napkin. That's a lot of tears.
My father was a procreator. My father's father was a procreator. My father's father's father. It goes back generations of procreators. And now...
that makes sense logically, yes.
Now I'm a box, and everyone's a box. I can't take... automation rules everything. Everything.
With automation comes people who have to service... program and come up with the designs for these. Perhaps that might be something, so you can put a little bit of yourself into the box.
Step inside the box a bit.
Maybe you could program it to be more like you. Maybe there's a way to make it a little bit more personalized, and maybe that might bring some of the ladies around on your planet.
You mean it kind of the machine equivalent of what Horatio just did for you and I, Trellis?
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Yes.
I never thought of it like that. Never.
Well, perhaps you should.
And then you wouldn't have to work so hard.
Yes.
Because in a sense, you would be actually procreating.
And then I would be able to tell people I have a job and I'm a competent procreator.
And you are a procreator, yes. We could also make a ribbon for you that says procreator.
The ratio of things that were horrible for you to talk about on your date about yourself would dramatically lower as compared to the things that were really good going on. You'd have so much more to offer.
Yes.
It would mean the only thing we have to worry about is the planet being destroyed that I'm having a date on. But other than that, life would be perfect.
Yes, with only those two minor worries about planet destruction and the continuing of your species.
And with your wealth, you know what you could do? You could build your own pool at your house with a swim-up bar that you could swim in whenever you wanted to, and no one could ever destroy it.
Yes.
Will you two, you plural too, come visit and swim in my pool?
I'd love to.
Of course we would. Of course we would.
Can we get drinks at the pub bar?
I would displace a great bit of the water in your pool, but yes, I would be there for that.
Horatio, if this works out, you could displace the whole ocean of water that we have on our planet.
It'd be a wave pool on your visits.
If I'm in there, it's a wave pool. If I move it all, I move it all.
You can have all of the water that you wish to displace if this works out.
Oh, good. That's required. It's not really a choice I make. It's just the way my body interacts with what's around it.
And I'm just surprised that no one on your planet has thought of this before.
Yes.
Because clearly someone had to design the first version of this box, correct? I mean, but maybe they just didn't put much thought into it.
Now, you're speaking like the Peletians speak. This is not... Trellis, this is unfair. Could you imagine if you could not dine at this restaurant, for example? Like your father before you or your father before you. Because instead of you dining here, you were replaced by a fish or a car. So, well, not a fish, but maybe it was an automated fish.
Automated, yes, of course, an automated fish, yes.
An automated trellis. Well, let's think about it.
Yeah, would you be thinking of solutions, or would you be thinking of problems? Clearly, you'd be thinking of.
I'd be thinking how I could replace that automated trellis, or at least influence it so that it accurately reflected my inner soul.
Ooh. I don't know. Would you really want that on your exterior trellis? Is that really the calling card that you want?
I'm willing to risk it.
I think if you had the pool, I think that all the procreating would come to you.
Yes. Like
it's a bit of a procreation magnet.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
But I only want one creator.
Well, no one says you have to take all of them, but you would have your choice. You would have your choice of the one you most prefer.
You could try out different ones, find the one that's right for you.
Sounds as good as the book that the cow was reading before I ate it. Oh, little did I know.
I praise indeed if it was as good as the book the cow was reading.
Mm-hmm.
If I were putting together a scale of things, would you say that the cow reading is probably the best thing ever?
It is. The eating of the cow after it ate was pretty satisfying. The reading was kind of unusual, but it was something to talk about. Yes, for sure.
I just didn't know if the eating or the reading was better. But
sometimes we want to read and sometimes we want to eat. And reading and eating is quite difficult.
I can understand that.
Horatio has in one sense mastered that, as he does write in condiments on his napkin.
Yes.
And occasionally they do turn into sources of dipping for his food. So.
Yeah, sometimes I just eat my notes.
Yes.
That is a problem, Horatio.
It can be, especially when I'm trying to recall something later.
Well, I think we've, once again, Horatio, I think this show has turned into more of a helpful, guidance-based episode.
I hate to admit it, but I think we might have possibly helped someone this episode.
Us possibly helping someone seems to be becoming a theme.
It is certainly not what we intend to do.
Not by any means, but this was such a fascinating subject. Termin, do you think you're going to go back and try to work something out with the design, upkeep, programming, maintenance of these procreation boxes?
Well, my brain is racing right now, but I'm definitely going to take this idea back, and I'm going to convert my life into one of meaning, one of purpose, and purpose equals passion, just like the book.
Passion.
A purposeful life.
So, Horatio, what do you think the entry should be for circular?
Yeah, the T is silent. The T is silent.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that, but that's, here's what's written on my napkin in large block letters. The T is silent.
Yes.
I didn't know if that was specific enough of an entry, but I like it because it's sublime in its simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, we did go through a number of different referendums. Is that the word? Where you to change?
I like that word. I'm fine.
We tried to change it into something less confusing, but we just couldn't agree on anything other than what is best. Change is not good.
Oh, change is not good.
No,
change is not good. That's a good entry.
Oh, yeah, circular. Change is not good.
The T is silent.
So, yeah. Enter. Oh, very good.
Very good.
Perfect.
Very good.
Well, Termin, this has been fascinating and exciting and lovely. And it's been. Let's not have this be another. I think you said 20 years goes by.
Let's only wait 15 next time.
At least 15.
10
max
half.
20. Yes. But I want it to be in your future custom in the ground bar pool.
Yes. The next time we meet, we will be awash in liquid.
I would like that. I would love that. And maybe Trellis, if you're not doing anything later, maybe we could perhaps.
Let's take a walk. We'll take a walk.
Take a walk. See where
perhaps
things
a stroll.
lead.
I've got a much longer list of horrible things about myself I can tell you. Thank you for joining us for Hitchhikers and Appetizers. And of course, special thanks goes to our guest, Termin Feckin. I have been Trellis Gardeen.
And I continue to be Horatio Zinn. Until next time, keep your towels clean. And if you're going on a 5-year mission to seek out new life and new civilizations with a randy captain, make sure you always have a red shirt with you to take one for the team. So don't panic. Everything you heard in this episode was improvised, but not everything improvised was heard. This episode of Hitchhikers and Appetizers featured the voice talents of Mike Gorgone as Trellis Gardeen, Bran Peacock as Horatio Zinn, and Neil Curran as Termin Feckin. Finally, Hitchhikers and Appetizers is part of the Improv in Action Network. Check out other great improvised podcasts and projects at improvinaction.com. If you'd like to reach out to Trellis or Horatio, you can send electronic messages to them at our Galaxy address, hitchappspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find them on Twitter with the handle hitchapps.
Shut up and sit down.